No sonido. Uh-huh.
Sí.
Oh, but he's muted. Italo.
I think that Edmundo is trying to do something with the record.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
¿Listos?
Okay.
Bueno, buenos días.
Yes.
Buenos días a todos y todas. Nuevamente, pues, para hablar del instrumento que tanto amamos, nos reunimos y hoy tenemos una mañana especialísima, una clase maestra con la maestra Marylène, y va a encargarse de la dirección de la clase maestra, la maestra Georgina. Así que bueno, iniciamos. Hoy vamos a trabajar música de orquesta, también música de viola. Así que a todos agradecerles montones, agradecerle por supuesto a Marylène y Georgina. Y nada, Georgina, te cedo el espacio para que iniciemos. Suerte a todos y que disfruten.
Gracias. Gracias, Ítalo. Cuando estés listo, adelante.
Ya. Digo hasta dónde toco o toco hasta que me detengan.
Marylène te va. Marylène, whenever you would like to interrupt him, just interrupt him. Ella te dirá cuando quiera que pares.
I think for the Mozart, we can just hear a little bit of that because it's so short. The main one is anyway the first excerpt, just the beginning, and then we can, do a little bit of the Don Juan after.
Okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh. Ahora sí.
Consigue nomás.
Ajá.
Thank you so much. Beautiful playing, beautiful. I really enjoy your sound and your sensitivity in your playing. I think it's very beautiful. My first question is, have you played this in the orchestra before?
No, never.
Sorry.
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. Do you speak English a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Okay, great. So did you hear what I said, or do I need to start again?
No, I said I haven't. I haven't.
Okay, you haven't. Great. So tell me a little bit how you've been working on this excerpt. Has it been a long time? Or is it a newer excerpt?
Because of school with my teacher here, Penelope, I had the opportunity to work on it for a couple of months.
Great. Okay, so if we go back from a couple months ago, oh, now I can't see him anymore. Okay, here. Hi. So go back a few months ago and tell me a little bit how you worked on this excerpt. This excerpt, I think, is, you're all by yourself on stage, and when you have to play this, and it's really fast, and it happens really fast, and it has to be very precise and very clean and everything. So tell me a little bit the steps you took to work on the first passage here.
Yeah, first, well, I tried it slow to get the notes, the intonation, maybe to work on the shiftings and the bowings. I tried it first slow, and then I tried to think of the phrasing, maybe
Good, very good.
inside of the bowings, and yeah, then I started to speed it up a little bit more.
Great, great, excellent. So when you say you practice slow, can you explain a little? I mean, do you use different tips, different, you have to be really creative when you have something really fast and you want this to be nice and even. You have to be creative on how you practice it. So you can, I think of this, of doing it like upside down, inside out, backwards and everything, and then you do it normal. So I really love using the rhythms. Do you use rhythms?
Not so much.
Okay, so that would be really good to get that rhythm in the left hand and that evenness of the notes. I was probably 12 years old when my teacher gave me those and a piece of paper. He wrote those rhythms. I still have them and I use them. I still use them. So it's not something you do once, but it's something you can really apply in your practice on a regular basis. So example, when you start here, did you ever try that? Why don't we try one time like this? Okay, so this is da, da, da. The most important is the precision of the fast note. The long note doesn't matter. And then we will do opposite. But let's start with just that for now.
Okay.
Even quicker. Because we're working on the reflexes of the fingering changes, and sometimes it's in shift, sometimes it's in string crossing. So you want to really make that faster. Good, and then keep going. Good, and you try to keep a regular tempo, whatever if you decide to do, but make sure the tempo is regular. Georgina, should we translate a little bit or?
Creo que entendiste todo, pero ¿tienes alguna pregunta antes de que yo traduzca?
No.
Okay. Las pequeñas cosas que yo sentí que quizás es muy importante, que no sé si entendiste 100%, habló de los reflejos. Dijo the reflexes. Dijo cuando estás practicando esos ritmos, la nota larga no es lo importante es la precisión y el reflejo rapidísimo de la nota pequeña. Entonces, eso fue como el concepto más importante. I think everything else he actually understood very well.
Yes.
But for everybody else, to translate for everybody else.
Claro, entonces la profesora estaba hablando de la importancia de los diferentes ritmos para un pasaje tan expuesto y tan rápido y efervescente como esto. Entonces es muy importante no solamente practicar este pasaje famoso, lento, pero también practicarlo con diferentes ritmos para entrenar la mano a tener los reflejos más rápidos posibles y hacer que sea un pasaje fácil para la mano izquierda.
Very good, thank you. And Italo, how about we try the opposite now? Of course, we don't have that much time, but I just want to demonstrate a little bit and see how it feels a little more in control. Okay. So do it with opposite.
Do I keep going or? It's fine.
Very good, very good, very good. And I want you to feel when you do that, your fingers are very springy. You hit them really strong and it just bounces off a little bit. So try not to, you know, hold down too strong either. Really feeling the reflexes coming only from the bass joints here, right? So you should not feel like you're squeezing with the rest of your hand, but really coming just from the bass knuckles as much as possible. So focus on that.
Esto es importante. Quiere para todos y para Italo, quiere que sientan, literalmente sentir físicamente que el dedo funcione como un resorte, no como un botón que uno aprieta y queda ahí. Entonces, esa sensación de resorte tiene que venir de, no de la mano necesariamente, porque no hay que apretar con la mano, pero de, ¿cómo? How do you say joints? De
Bass knuckles.
Mm,
El paso de
nudillos.
dedos.
¿Cómo
No, no.
es?
Los nudillos.
Nudillos. Claro, claro. Para liberar la mano, ¿no?
Great. So let's try now. The next rhythm would be one long. So the ones are a little more tricky. The passage spend more time repeating. Okay, repeat the ones that are a little more difficult and then continue. So beginning. So one long, three shorts. Fast, very fast. Very good. And keep the tempo steady. You sometimes stop here. Continue the motion. Good. And then you would do opposite. That's a hard one. Okay, you want to try?
Okay.
Okay, it's okay. You can practice that, but I promise it's like playing. I mean, it's tricky. You know, it's a little brain trick here. But once you do this 4 different ways, and then you do it normal, it's like, oh, it's a brace. It's so easy, right? Very good. Let's translate just as much.
Okay, ahí sí. Que es muy difícil, no es fácil. Todos estos ritmos diferentes que hay que hacer, la inversión, lo opuesto, cada iteración diferente, hay que lograr hacerla con facilidad. Y luego de hacer todas esas diferentes versiones, volver al original debe sentirse bastante fácil. Entonces, esa es la idea.
Great. Italo, is there another way you could practice that besides the rhythms?
Maybe without the bowings? Like...
Yes, exactly. If they're complex bowings, intricate bowings, simplify everything. Everything, you know. So to save time, because we don't have much time, but that's something that I would invite you to do. And you can do. So you're really working on the reflexes here in the rhythm in the left hand. The other challenge in this piece are the string crossing.
Yeah.
So you know, we have different string crossing in here. Do you play? You could play in third position, right? So here, I'm feeling that when you go to new string, that I call this taking the elevator. You know, so it's not, okay, I'm on the second floor and I'm going to first floor now. So really anticipate. So practice really slow. Okay. All right, so this, and you could do some kind of variolage or something to practice. And then depending, you try to keep it in the context of the piece. I'm feeling that swing with the bow, so it's a continuous motion. It's never, I'm here, oh, I'm going there. So very anticipate and practice those gestures very, very slow. Okay, so you have really nice control, so it's nice and smooth. Just a couple more things technically. Any questions so far on this?
Yeah, I just got one. How do I choose the bowings on this, like the first passage?
Yes, there's a lot of different bowings here. I've seen like the way it's printed, but we usually hear with I think we do this a lot in orchestra, and I had one crazy conductor once play everything in one bow. I am not kidding. Yeah, so we should have this nice flow. What do you do exactly? You do
all the way down.
That's fine too. I think I've played that this way as well. Very good, but go ahead.
Para traducir, there were some really important points there, so I'll just quickly go over them. Aparte de los cambios de ritmos, también la profesora los invita a todos a estudiar eso también con variaciones en los arcos. Y cuantas variaciones puedan para cambiar los arcos. Pero lo otro que dijo que fue muy importante es que dijo que lo otro que es muy difícil en este extracto son los cambios de cuerdas. Y dijo que es importante pensar en estos cambios de cuerdas, visualizar tomar un ascensor de un piso a otro. O sea, un ascensor continuo que te lleva a un piso o al otro, pero no saltar de un piso al otro. Entonces que sea como algo lo más cuidadoso posible para que no sea un cambio como muy discontinuo entre las dos cuerdas.
Great, thank you. One little technical thing, Italo, I noticed is that you hold the fourth finger. Have you tried releasing the fourth finger, keeping it above, close to the string? But I think by putting the fourth finger and holding, it puts a lot of strain. It's much harder to move the other fingers. So really, you don't need the fourth finger on the next string. So I highly recommend you, can you try? Yeah. Yeah. Did you feel the difference?
Yeah.
Yes, because holding this, it's hard. I can't even, it's for me, it's really hard to move my first finger after.
Yeah.
Or even this one, 1, 2, 3. Good. Very nice. And then one other thing I would like to bring up, of course, is the line, the bowings. Yeah, the bowings is, imagine that you're playing without the rests, right? Can you imagine that? It's not really. So practice also those kind of gestures or phrasing without the rest. One of the best excerpts I can think of is the Bellio. Having the feeling that when you're releasing the rest, it's just a natural breath and not cutting. It's a comma. It's like the human breath, how we breathe, but it's always continuous. So think about you both being continuous. So I think you attempted that, but it got a little, it broke a little bit at the top of the phrase. Sorry. See how I'm releasing and it's the start of my next note.
Uh-huh.
Would you mind trying that again and just thinking of your bow just being constantly fluid?
Okay.
Good. And I don't think we need to retake in the beginning. Just continue. It's like you're on the walk, right? Continue, not stop. Oh, I'm coming back to where I started, where I left. Yeah.
Okay.
Much better. It sounded so much more organic and just very fluid. Another thing you can add now is more of the shape. Keeping in the context, it's a piano, presto, dolce, but so maybe a little more arching to the top and then back a little bit. You want to try that? Beautiful. That was really nice though, the two ups there. Yep. Good. And very nice.
Just very quickly, a 5-minute warning. So if you want to try Don Juan, now's your chance.
Oh, really? That's the only thing I would love to do Don Juan.
Do a little bit of Don Juan, yeah. And then
Yes.
voy a poner la traducción de lo que acaba de decir, que fue importante. Lo voy a tipear para que todos lo puedan leer. I'm just going to type some of this translation so you can move on to Don Juan.
Great. Thank you, Talo. So Don Juan, and let's do maybe just the first page. Did you want to do the top of the second page? Maybe it's a little too much.
No, if we
Okay, let me hear the whole thing. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Italo. Very nice playing. How long have you been working on this? Is it something new, or is it something you've been working from many months or years?
Yeah, the same with Mozart.
Okay, good. So throughout the year, okay, great. I think it's a really wonderful, I like how your sound and your playing is always very refined. I love that about it. And then I think this piece is very virtuosic. It has to be really strong, it has to be brilliant, and I think you can really bring out that character a little bit more in the piece. You need to put yourself in the context. Have you played this in the orchestra?
No.
Okay, great. So, when you don't have a chance to play an orchestra, I highly recommend you play it with the recording and listen to the recording. You must put yourself in the context. And so the first thing you want to pay attention to are, of course, the dynamics, articulation. Everything needs to be so much more precise. It's very refined and it's beautiful, and I love that. But it has to have so much more brilliance and triumph in this piece. And it's a little slow, but again, in auditions, you don't want it too fast either, because sometimes we hear it, it's usually too fast and too loud. And we don't want it ugly either. We want strong but beautiful sound. And you're very good at this. And too loud, we want a little more strength. So, like if you just look at the beginning, it's like a pickup. And the energy has to be right there. Can you try that? And I want you to, play one more time, just the beginning.
Okay.
And I have a question for you.
Sorry.
Okay, Italo. So I see you go. Your pickup, the way you prepare yourself is like you're gonna play this most beautiful romance song, a very sweet or something. This is really a hard piece to start an orchestra, because the conductor is there and goes boom. He just throws the beat at you, and it can be very startling. So you need to practice in that same kind of mood. And can you give yourself that downbeat?
Okay.
Okay, and have your bow ready. And it's a pickup. Think of a pickup. Pick up the second bar. Okay, good. That's the minimum. Okay, that's the minimum starting. You need to get so much more energy in this. But that was so much better. Okay, so very strong. The thing it doesn't stop. The energy doesn't stop after the first beat or second beat, because you have a half note. So making sure that everything really, really strong. Okay.
I'm afraid that this is our moment to move on.
So sad, because
I know it's such a good class. I know.
All right, we'll just have to meet again.
Sure.
Bravissimo.
So the dynamics, making sure that you really pay attention to the, like example, bum bum ba ba yum bum ba ba, accents, and then sometimes we don't have accents. Bring out all these elements that will really convey the character here. All right. Nice job.
Thank you so much.
Nice to hear you. Yeah.
So, mientras se prepara, en 30 segundos empiezas, María, y mientras te preparas para tocar, voy a traducir súper rápido lo que dijo sobre el Don Juan, que lo puse más que nada en el chat, pero muy importante los detalles de esta obra. Cuando hay un acento, cuando no hay un acento, Strauss lo escribe todo en mucha precisión. Entonces, eso tiene que resaltar la precisión rítmica, la precisión de las dinámicas, la variación, y muy importante, lo que más dijo la profesora, es que la presencia física, no se puede mostrar debilidad en una obra como esta. Tiene que tener la presencia correcta, tiene que ser algo no con fuerza, pero con muchísima energía. Cuidado con la preparación antes de comenzar, no puede ser una preparación débil. Así que, María, cuando estés lista, adelante.
Great. Mucho gusto.
Hola,
María. Buenos días. Anytime you're ready, you can start. You're playing the elegy, correct? Great. Good. Thank you. Do you want to stop here?
Yeah.
Or continue? Great. Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you. Great. Very nice. Is it possible to position yourself so I can see your left hand? I could not really see your left hand.
Let me check.
Let's get it. Great. Thank you so much. Great, great. I absolutely love this piece. It's a very profound. What is an elegy? What are your thoughts? Tell me about what is an elegy.
Como un recuerdo, un honor, un tributo, algo así.
Yes, see, and then is it a sad kind of memory?
Kind of, yes.
Yes, yes. An elegy was a poem written basically for in memory of the dead, or you know, it's a lament for the dead. So it's very sad and sorrow. You know, a lot of pain and suffering from. I think I read once that elegy lost. He was like mourning over a breakup of his engagement, a long time lover. So he was in a lot of pain. You know, and I think that when we go through loss or we're heartbroken, we go through a multiple of different emotions. Can you describe some emotions that you might go through? Like, let's say somebody who's suffering or sad.
In words?
Yeah, if you want. You can say in Spanish. It's fine.
Okay. Como desesperanza. Vamos a ver cuál más.
Desperate, yeah. Desperate, and then sadness. How about anger?
Enojo también.
Yes. Anguish. We can also have some hope. You know, if the person is still there, we might have some hope. We might, I don't know. I mean, we also at some point we kind of accept at the end. So I really think this piece has so many emotions, and it would be lovely if you could try to portray all of these emotions. So the beginning is very, I mean, it should not be fast. It's adagio. I think was it molto adagio, right? Adagio is a very slow tempo, and he writes molto. So even more, I mean, very, very slow. So I think, what can you do technically to make it sound sadder? Okay, so you have to, you know, when you're thinking of a character you're trying to portray, you want to think, okay, how do I create this technically? So you get your box of tools out, and then you figure out, okay, what do I do? Do I go on? Less ball. Oh,
Sorry, New York.
No problem, no problem. It might be a slower bow. You know, when you're in pain, you're not this way. You know, this kind of, you're a little more introverted, and so I think it kind of calls for a slower bow speed, right? We need to feel the pain. Do you feel that sadness a little bit more now? It's really important. We need to feel that as a listener. So, you know, we don't just play. I think you try to just play the notes and everything, but I really want you to think about those emotions. So let's try the beginning, and we want to feel, as the audience, we want to feel that pain. Can you try like this very slow bow and really slow tempo? Like you're really mourning, you're really, really sad. Do you want, Georgina, did you want to translate that?
Yeah, just very quickly. La maestra está preguntando qué podemos hacer técnicamente con el instrumento para expresar las emociones que son emociones muy profundas, de tristeza, hablo de todas las emociones, puede ser enojo, puede ser esperanza, puede ser desesperación. ¿Qué podemos hacer técnicamente para expresar eso en el instrumento? Entonces está quizás recomendando alentar el arco para sentir esa fricción, esa desesperación. Y también indicó que la indicación es importante. Adagio ya es una indicación muy lenta y además él le agrega el molto, o sea, es una exageración, es una obra muy como un poco extrema.
Gracias. Good. Thank you. Gracias. Gracias, Maria. Okay, better. I feel that I'm more drawn to your playing right now. Okay, the other way was maybe more indifferente, indifferent. So now I'm drawn. Oh, she's trying to say something. That was really, really nice. Now, it seemed like you were a little uncomfortable to start the piece. Can you really try to feel that? And then you must breathe in that mood also, not kind of just setting up the bow on the string. Breathe also in that mood, and breathe. We should see it. We already should feel that energy or that mood in the air before you start. Sorry, I have a different edition here. Are you doing slurred or? Because I think it should be a little stronger. You could try separate the first two notes. Okay. Good. So now let's try just that breathing before you start. Can you really set yourself in that mood and breathe in that slow, painful sadness. Slow. Thank you. Okay, it's much better, much better. I would like to try this pickup again, just the beginning. And I know we are told often to prepare our bow and go, but I want you to, in this instance, I would like you to try to start from the air, right? Feeling that it's coming from this kind of circular motion. Breathe, and you'll have a better sound than if you go. But it was so much better already. I don't know if you noticed. Did you like it? Yeah. And feel the weight just entering the string here. Another thing, should we translate this much?
Yeah.
About the breath. Yeah.
Importante que realmente pienses cuidadosamente sobre la energía que el pleno emocional que estás tratando de habitar y uses tu respiración para llegar a esa emoción antes de tocar. Entonces, antes de que los crines lleguen a la cuerda, es como que siéntate en ese lugar, respira y prepara el pleno emocional que te rodea antes de tocar y sientas el peso del brazo y todas esas cosas juntas te van a ayudar a producir el tono que quieres al principio.
Very nice. So well translated. Thank you. Great. The other thing I noticed, Maria, in your playing is that you tend to move a lot. And what happens is I'm losing the sense of the phrase, and we should feel that, like you have a rubber band, you pull, 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 and I'm hearing a little bit of these little jumps in your phrase, a little bit. I'm exaggerating, but it's like I'm hearing like you're on the road and you hear a pothole, another pothole. I hear too much of the little disturbance, disturbances in the phrase. Can we try one time, like keeping really, really, comfortably, not tight, but if you move, think this way instead of up and down. Because when you actually move downward like this, you know what happened to your bow? You lose the contact. You need to feel the contact always. I'm sure you've heard all of these things before. But, sometimes we get involved in the music and then we start moving too much and it gets in the way. So practicing getting that beautiful sound without any bumps.
This is important too. Entonces, a veces se está escuchando, ahora que ha mejorado mucho el sonido y el pleno la emoción que estás expresando, se fija que a veces se pierde un poco la longitud de la frase, entonces que a veces ella escucha como interrupciones en la frase. Entonces, que piensa en un elástico, cuando agarras un elástico, lo tiras, tiene que continuar, porque si lo sueltas va a volver y se interrumpe toda la frase. Entonces, lo que te recomienda es que para esa frase larga y continua sin interrupciones, cuidado con los movimientos del instrumento. Si te vas a mover con el instrumento y con tu cuerpo, que sea horizontalmente, no verticalmente, porque a veces cuando movemos el instrumento verticalmente se pierde el contacto entre los crines y la cuerda, que es lo más importante, ese contacto. Entonces, eso es todo. Entonces, piensa en esa frase más larga posible.
Great. Let's try this. Yeah, breathe. Respira. Con la mano, el brazo, whatever. Yeah. Long. Okay. Maria, the sound was so much better. Very compelling. Like, I want to listen to that. It's really, really nice. It could still be slower, much slower. So I think the introduction here is like, this person is screaming the pain. Listen to me, I'm suffering. And then when you go to pianissimo, it's more like retrieving a little bit more introverted. And the same kind of very, very smooth, right? And be careful, you start again doing the you know, moving the viola a little bit up and down, but so much better. So now, what do you think happens here?
Hay más movimiento.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah, a little more momentum, right?
mhm.
What is the feeling like?
Desesperación.
Yes, or maybe a little anxious, or you know, something that bothers, you know. So you must come out. Sorry, I'm playing the octave higher because that's the part I have, but to create that anxiety, yeah, vibrato, a little more like a shock, and then left hand. Again, it's that desperation, or so it's not just straight, right? So a machine, a machine would do that so well. So we, as human, we want to do more. So can you try that one time? So really something special in that accent. Okay, good. Maria, maybe because of the accent, definitely I would do that in third position. That would be so nice. We don't have enough time to go through all the fingerings, but I heard a lot of open strings, and I would explore different fingerings just because of you need, for something like this, you need the vibrato for the anxiety. You cannot just play. And then a little swell. Again, get more. Okay, this is just one example. Let's try with the new fingering one time. Good. Okay, you can try this finger. I think it's going to work really well. So explore those colors. Of course, it would take another 2 hours to speak about left-hand colors here. And I would love to work with vibrato for you, because I really think you have a really lovely vibrato. But you also
this could be for you.
what? Oh, so Maria, I think you have a lovely vibrato, but you only use it by convenience when it feels comfortable, or when you have a long note. So in these kind of pieces, you know, romantic or lyrical, try to have a more continuous vibrato, especially in the beginning here. A little more present in the line of the music. Example, when we had you have that little accent. Does it come from nowhere, or does it come from before, you think? The energy comes before, or it's just a sudden?
No, before.
Yeah, so they're like like you can think of a mini crescendo. And then swell. Because if I go, it's not very musical. Okay, keep in the context, but always, every time I say an accent on arrival, what comes before is so much more important. So let's translate a little bit, because I just gave a lot of information.
We're at the stopping point again, I'm afraid.
I know. So yeah, very good, Maria. So really try. I think it's going to help you feeling, you know, very more comfortable. Also, technically, if you think of the music, also, you know, of course, we have to learn all the technicals and the fundamentals. But even as you're working the fundamentals, already start thinking, okay, what kind of bowing do I use here? What kind of bow pressure? I mean, weight. Where do I play in the bow? What kind of character is it in it? You know, like the beginning, we use a slow over a bow. If it's too fast, then it doesn't sound. It sounds happy. So you need to find out the technical aspect of a phrasing, something that will help you portray the character you want to have. Okay, and then I would really explore the vibrato as well. Okay, so that's something that you can discuss with your teacher, but more continuous, not vibrating. Okay, now, okay, but having a little more continuous vibrato and really feeling that line also, those lines in the left hand. Any questions for you, Maria?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, good luck. It sounds great.
Thank you.
Already sounded so much better. It's great.
Thank you.
Suena maravilloso, te elogia mucho y estaba, yo creo que entendiste, pero estaba hablando del vibrato, cuidado demasiadas cuerdas al aire porque es importante el color que trae la mano izquierda en una obra como esta. El vibrato contribuye a esa ansiedad y te da muchísimas herramientas para agregar el color que se necesita en una obra como esta. Y dice que podríamos hablar horas de todos los colores que uno puede usar, que no hay tiempo, pero cuidado, usa otros dedajes para poder ocupar tu mano izquierda. Y los acentos para todos, que fue muy importante que dijo que los acentos es importante la energía que viene antes del acento en sí. Hay que como llegar a ese lugar, si no es como viene de la nada y no tiene sentido musicalmente. Así que estudies tus frases largas, que pienses mucho del peso de tu brazo, de cómo preparas una obra, de la aceleración o lo lento que usas el arco, cosas así. Muchas felicidades. Entonces vamos a seguir al próximo.
Gracias.
Oscar.
It goes so fast.
I was waiting for.
Hola. Oscar, right?
Yeah.
Mucho gusto, Oscar.
Nice to meet you.
Great. What would you like to start with? Beethoven or Bach?
Bach.
Okay, the prelude.
Yes.
Great. right. Thank you so much, Oscar. Very nice. Great. So tell me a little bit. I mean, you seem to love performing. I can see the desire to play, and you're excited about playing and everything. It's wonderful. Tell me a little bit about your approach to Bach and how you work on this.
Sorry, English is not my.
Yo
¿Puedes
te ayudo.
traducir, Georgina?
Sí, aquí estoy.
Es que yo hablo español, sé hablar inglés, pero
Tranquilo.
acabo de tocar.
No problem.
Tranquilo. Te está preguntando cuál es tu estrategia, cuál es tu idea del trabajo en tocar Bach. ¿Qué es lo que estás pensando? ¿Cuál es tu estrategia con la música de Bach?
Pues primeramente, siempre pienso tempo, afinación, golpe de arco, que el sonido sea lo más amplio posible, y tratar de llevar las dobles voces, o sea, acompañarme yo mismo, vaya, ¿no? Tratar de conservar los bajos, no meterle tanto en la melodía mientras estoy la redoble, no sé cómo explicarlo.
Sí, no, te entendí. So he mentioned, as you heard, he mentioned tempo. He's talking about the counterpoint. So he wants to make sure he brings out the voices and the bass. So and the other thing you mentioned was the intonation.
Great, wonderful. These are all wonderful things you said. Yes. So when I first learned Bach, or a student brings Bach to me, I always say, focus on the fundamentals first before we do anything. Like, you know, Bach wrote these prelude and they were meant to be more like improvisation. They were the movement that set up the key of the whole suite. So it's more of a little statement. But this particular suite, I think the mood is very sad, a D minor tonality.
I had a question. I have to play this piece. Algunos intérpretes, algunos intérpretes lo hacen mucho más rápido y mucho más brillante. Lo hacen mucho más rápido y brillante, y otros intérpretes lo hacen mucho más lento. Y una vez que estaba hablando con una amiga mía, también músico, y me decía, es que tienes que hacer que el preludio sea más tuyo, o sea, más preludio lento, disfrutarlo demás, y así es como lo he tratado de hacer, pero pero no sé si hacerlo un poco más rápido, o pronunciar un poco más los bajos, seguir con el arpegiato desde el final, hacer con el arpegiato, o hacer los acordes como lo hacen otros intérpretes. Entonces estoy como en esa constante duda.
Claro, estás preguntando, claro. Ok, no, sí, bueno, voy a traducir lo que dijiste, pero también... Sí, pero creo que ella en realidad ya te ha respondido en lo que te estaba diciendo. He's asking about his confusion about which tempo. He's just not sure whether it should be a faster tempo or a slower one. But I think I'm going to tell him that actually you kind of already are about to answer that, because you were talking about the fundamentals. And I think that probably plays into the tempo that he's going to choose.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you,
Entonces ella estaba por decir que comenzaría por enfocarse un poco más en los fundamentos y recordar que fue escrito como un estudio. Y entonces olvidar un poco por ahora Claro, y enfocarse solamente con cómo asegurarse que todo lo fundamental está correcto.
Okay.
Oh, perfecto.
Yes, so it's a D minor key, and I think it's much sadder, and I don't think it should be too fast. I think never, not hurried, you know, never pressed or hurried. Very calm. We wait. Espera un poquito, por favor. The first things I always tell the students, make sure you've got a really, really good rhythmical structure. Okay, because I think it's improvisation, and there should be some freedom, but I really think that we need to understand the rhythmical structure. So I felt a little confused with the rhythm. Some of it was maybe Zoom, rushing and dragging, but making sure you have a really good structure. And let's do did you practice that with a metronome, Oscar? Did you ever use a metronome for this?
Actually, I used to use the metronome.
You used to?
I used to.
This is like my best friend. I use it every day. Every day.
Yeah, I know. Metronome is the best friend musicians.
Yeah, well, I'll introduce you to new friends. The metronome. It would be really. It's very, very important because right now, as a listener, I was very confused with the rhythm of the whole piece.
Yeah.
You don't have a metronome at all right now.
No.
Okay, so I invite you. Sorry, go ahead.
I was reading about this piece and someone says that it was like something like rubato en algunos pasajes, son rubatos and some phrases moving through.
Yes, it is okay, but the rhythm remains the same. It's okay to do a little rubato, but the rhythm will never change overall. So in this movement, I absolutely love this movement. I always think of a watermill. Do you know what a watermill is? Aguamolillo.
Aguamolillo, ¿cómo sería?
You know, como a wheel in a watermill? And I really fluid, very fluid. Sometimes you see there's less water, so it's light, and then more water and gets heavier and it goes forward. That kind of feeling, that really beautiful, very smooth phrases, and like with water running all the time. Okay, so yes, very smooth. And I don't think anything should be harsh. You know, the sound should be in Bach should be very beautiful and refined. Graceful. And so anyway, we can talk about this, but first I understand. Yeah, now I would like just the beginning. You know, some people say Bach means a brook, like a little mini river, and I think this is the Bach movement.
Sea waves, like that kind of movement.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, Oscar, can you play the beginning and give me the most beautiful sound and rhythmically correct? Very smooth, just a beautiful sound. Yeah, Oscar, sorry, do you have the music with you?
Yeah, I got it.
Yes, can you tell me your rhythm in the first bar?
It's I corché con puntillo y semicorchea. I don't know how to say in English.
2/8 notes. Da, da, da. So you're holding the second note like a half note. You have to make sure that it's really, really. Da, 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 right? Can you just sing that maybe? Yeah. Can you sing that, canta? No. Not too fast. One more time. I could not hear that. Una más, por favor. Good. Great. Can you do the same rhythm also on the viola here? And very sweet sound. It's only piano tranquilo. I'm not hearing him anymore. Good. Okay, the beginning was better. I'm having trouble hearing Oscar. It's very far, the sound. I don't know if that can be adjusted. Jordina, are you there?
Yeah, desapareció el sonido, Oscar. A ver, di algo.
Hola.
¿Me
escuchan?
En realidad muy poco. Yo creo que se ajustó, se normalizó tu micrófono. A ver.
¿Ya me escuchan? Hola.
Can everybody else hear him? Or it's just
I don't think anybody can hear him.
If you come a little closer to the mic.
Hola, hola.
Mejor.
¿Puedes revisar el setting del micrófono y reajustarlo a veces?
Sí.
Okay, can you play, puedes tocar close, microphone, very close.
Acerca, sí.
Okay, can you try one time? All the subdivisions. Okay, so it would, Oscar, I think that would be a really good exercise for you. And it has to be really, 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 really clean. And you see how I'm using very little bow. So not necessarily very but much slower. Much slower. Yeah. Okay, all 16ths. You're playing sometimes quarter notes, sometimes eighth note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No. 16.
Okay.
A ver, Oscar, ¿entiendes el ejercicio, no? O sea, son...
Sí, entiendo el ejercicio, tengo que practicarlo.
Sí, claro,
I have to practice this exercise.
La idea es tocar todo en semicorcheas. Entonces, claro, cuando vienen las semicorcheas es solamente una cada una.
Yeah. Oscar, if you try something new, you just go really, really, really slow. It takes a lot of patience and very calmly, really thinking. So you practice mindfully. Just make sure you pay attention. 1, 2, 3, 4, and follow the music. Because I think you're playing.
Yeah, I don't have the music. I like.
That's
sorry, that is my wireless microphone has it's like absolutely problem, and I couldn't bring the parts, and I have it in my memory. Like
okay, so it's really important that you practice with the music, because right now you're making a lot of rhythm, the wrong rhythms and wrong notes as well. So these are the two fundamental things you must work on: rhythm.
Sound,
and notes, and what's the other one?
Yeah,
so rhythm, tempo, and then you have the notes. What's the third one? The sound.
Tuning.
Good.
Sound.
So I think the sound must be refined and just beautiful always. Just always. As listeners, we want to go and listen to you and other people, and we want to be like captivated by your sound. The sound is often the first thing they hear. So it has to be a very beautiful, attractive sound.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. The sound is the first sound everyone wants to hear.
Can I see the beginning? I want you to try to play it slower. And do it a little more in the Bach style, where in the old days when they had the Baroque bow, right? All these releases. So don't crush the sound. better. And I think that even the opening here doesn't have to be so strong. It can be much softer. And only use the bow you need. You're always kind of using full bow. You don't need to. And later, yes, Oscar, you see what I did here. When it's big, I use more bow. When it's quieter, nice colors, then use less bow, okay? And don't press the sound. Always have a feeling of sinking into the string, yes. Good. All right, beginning, can we try piano? Good. Can we, Georgina, did you want to translate a little bit of this? We're talking about the sound, the use of the bow, not always using the full bow when it's not needed.
Sí, entonces ella está tratando de comunicar cuando hay un pasaje que quizás, o sea, que no siempre sin considerar ocupar todo el arco, que a veces vale la pena pensar, bueno, en este pasaje es una emoción diferente y valdría la pena usar un poco menos de arco y limitar eso para variar. Entonces quiere que empecemos pero sin apretar también, sin forzar el sonido. Y quiere que empecemos el principio, pero con una dinámica muy piano.
Okay, Oscar, can we try the beginning and really piano, very sweet sound? Okay, can you just imagine there's a baby sleeping in the other room? A little more introverted kind of sound in the beginning. That's a really beautiful sound. And then not because it's softer and slower, that has to be slower, right? You can still have
Yeah.
So the first phrase has 3 little tears. And then it comes down again. So show us. Espera, please. So we want to hear that beautiful sound you had there, but just shape it a little more. I want a little more arch, but never too loud yet. Later, okay? Let's try that.
Right.
Estamos en la hora, and we're at the time, so just the very last thing, and yeah, we're basically a little bit over. But.
Okay.
Great. So, well, since we don't have time, Oscar, really
thank
important.
You so much for your compliment.
Yes, thank you so much. So, Oscar, remember the way you practice is really, really important. To practice calmly, slow, mindfully, really work on the fundamentals before you try to, because I love how you want to be so expressive and make music, and you love performing. I can see that, but you must learn the fundamentals, you know, with a metronome, with, you know, for the structure, rhythmical structure, what did I say, subdivisions, very strict, like you play Kreutzer first, right? And then the right notes, and think about your sound. The forte should also be a remember those releases in the bow, so the sound can ring as well. So never pressing and not harsh. Beauty all the time in the Bach, right? So people want to listen to you. That's really important. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, do you want to translate that, Georgina? Or?
Yes, sí, para traducir, termino con hablar de la importancia de practicar siempre con mucha paciencia, con calma y con siempre poniendo mucha atención a los fundamentos. Déjame traducir bien rápido a los fundamentos de la partitura, como que sea una guía para que no nos perdamos en la musicalidad sin una guía concreta de lo que es que estamos haciendo con la partitura. Las subdivisiones son muy importantes, tener muy sólido eso, los estudios, estudiar el Kreutzer, cualquier cosa que nos ayude con los fundamentos técnicos del instrumento, y usar el metrónomo muchísimo. Y también dijo que poner atención con el sonido una vez que uno lo produce, cómo se libera el sonido para que no se apriete y se ahogue dentro del instrumento, pero que se libere. Para que la gente como que sea un placer escuchar siempre el sonido más bello posible. Adelante.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, I have a question. ¿Lo hago hago el acorde o lo hago arpegio?
The ending. A las fines.
O hago el acorde.
Yeah, but it's minor.
Sí, sorry. Yeah.
So do you recommend the arpeggio or the chord?
What is the question?
So do you recommend the arpeggiated chords or just the whole chords for the ending?
I've always played the chords, but I love the arpeggios as well. I've never done it this way, but I had students do it. I love it. I really do.
Dice que las dos son legítimas, le encantan las dos maneras. Ella lo toca como el acorde, pero tiene alumnos que lo arpegian, y cualquiera de las dos que tú quieras.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you.
Gracias, Oscar. Gracias.
Bravo.
Bye.
So there's nobody else?
No, I can play Beethoven if you want. Sorry.
No, but I thought it was until 2. Maybe I'm wrong. Is it until 2?
Georgina, estás...
Yeah.
Okay.
Or do we have questions, maybe?
I play Beethoven.
Randall, what was it? ¿Qué me iba a decir? ¿Me equivoqué en algo?
We have
Es que te escuché hablando, pero estaba mute
Ok.
Eso era.
Entonces, ¿qué hacemos? ¿Damos un poco de espacio para preguntas?
Sí, yo diría que si alguien tiene alguna pregunta, bueno, quería decir que increíble la clase, hemos aprendido mucho, realmente los tres, con las 3 participaciones, muy lindo todo y una clase genial, realmente son comentarios que hemos recibido también por el Facebook y las otras plataformas, así que expresárselo a Marylène y pues agradecerle. Si alguno tiene alguna pregunta, entonces tenemos un espacio todavía.
Yeah, so he's just thanking you so much for the class. He says we all learned so much. It was really spectacular, and that the comments are coming in on Facebook and over here about how excellent and how excellent your teaching is. So thank you so much for being with us. And so if anybody has questions, we'll just let them pipe up right now. Cualquier pregunta, que simplemente se abran el micrófono y pongan el video para poder comunicarse. Mom, Penelope.
Well, I do have a question, but I wanted to know like how big your instrument is, Marylène, and whether you sometimes use different violas for different pieces, or do you always play the same viola all the time?
Great. Well, I've been playing this viola for many years now, 20 years. It's a big one. It's 16 7/8.
Wow.
So just between 16 3/4 and 17 inch. I don't know in centimeters. It's close to 42, I guess. I don't know, or a little more. And I usually use the same viola. in the last 7 years, I've been looking for a viola. So I've been probably playing on new instruments a lot, almost like weekly. But I like to use one main instrument. Even when we play outdoor, I like to use my instrument because I find it's so different from when it's not standard, you know, the sizes, the way it feels and everything, intonation. So I like to use the same one. Yeah.
And you never did you ever get like tendinitis or have your fourth finger hurt or some kind of from overwork or whatever?
No, lucky me, but actually, I usually get injuries because I'm clumsy. I've got one injury. A 2-year-old fell on my thumb like this one. I had like overextended thumb, and it took 10 years to actually heal completely. This pinky, I was warming up my hands in between a concert, and I pushed my pinky and I heard it snap. So this one, yes, this one, it comes back. Like even that that hurts me. I have to be really warmed up to use my forefinger. I use it, but once in a while it comes back, the pain. So I do a lot of massaging, you know, get it kind of moving around the scar tissue, they call it. I had my chiropractor work on a lot of these fingers as well. I had an injury. I was cleaning my carpet and then really hard like this, and this thing, the tendon was snapped. This was 1.5 years ago, and I was playing with a straight finger. I still can't bend this one. See?
Oh,
but
wow.
it healed. I had to have a brace, and it got infected. I mean, it was horrible. So I've had these really unlucky injuries.
Accidents, so yeah.
Yeah, accidents. Never, like, not wood, but never from playing, because I really believe if you're using the right muscles, that you know, of course, sometimes I'll get a little sore, but then I take care of it, you know, in muscle. I'll make sure I take a bath or get a massage or something like this. But when I feel something, I take care of it right away. I go to the chiropractor and I don't let it get worse. I had tendonitis once because I was shoveling snow. So my muscles got really tight. And then I had to record the arpeggio, and I was like a 17-year-old. I had to record on the radio, you know, as a youth artist, something. And I was like practicing like this, and my muscles were already sore from practicing. So it went down to my tendons. So, you know, making sure that the body is warmed up, there's no tension, will prevent those kind of injuries. But this is such a long time ago. But no, I mean, I hope it never happens. I mean, this finger here, I had to relearn to feel. I mean, I'm just starting to feel good again on the bow, because for a year I played with no support from this finger.
Hi.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, you kind of find new ways to, but it's hard. It's really hard. Injuries can be really devastating. And if it had happened on this finger, I don't know if I could still play. Sure. Yeah. So be careful with your fingers. Be careful. Every time I rub a carpet or something, or I'm cleaning, I make sure that I use something else, not my fingers. Like, you know, I could use, you know, like something something that replaces the strength of my hand. So I don't use just my fingers, because I realize they're so fragile. Yeah. That's a good question.
Mom, do you want to translate that?
Okay. La maestra le pregunté si había tenido, bueno, le pregunté por la viola, si a veces usaba otra viola o si siempre usaba aquella que es bastante grande, es casi 17 pulgadas. Y dijo que a ella le gusta usar siempre su viola, pero sí ha estado probando violas durante un par de años y ha estado probando muchos diferentes instrumentos, cada semana casi, pero que le gusta usar su viola para todo, incluso cuando tocan al aire libre, dice que usa su viola porque dice que no es lo mismo cambiar, así que está como bien, y dice que en general no le da tendinitis o problemas así por tocar, pero sí que ha sufrido una cantidad de accidentes. Ella dijo por torpe, pero o sea, mala suerte, unas cosas un poco escalofriantes que le ha pasado a los dedos. Y dijo que cuidar mucho las manos, cuidar mucho los dedos, porque son frágiles. Y si tiene algún dolor, alguna zona que está dolorida, que atenderlo al tiro, no dejar que se acumule, o un masaje o un baño de tina, ella va a la quiropráctica, por ejemplo, pero dice que es importante atenderse al tiro si hay alguna lesión o alguna fatiga en una parte. Dice que tuvo fatiga por haber estado limpiando la nieve cuando era adolescente. Entonces los tendones dolían y después tenía que grabar para la radio en Canadá la sonata arpeggione y estudió muchísimo para eso, y ya que venían mal los tendones, que fue, o sea, eso yo diría que tampoco podemos limpiar la nieve violistas. No, tendría que ser un poco Superman hay que cuidar los brazos y las manos, es verdad.
Thank you. Great. And anybody want to share things about injuries or things people have problems with, or that maybe I can help? I don't know.
La maestra dice si alguien querría compartir alguna experiencia de algún problema que tuvieron físicamente, que adelante, que compartan. O si tienen preguntas. Well, since no one's piping up, I'll ask you. What is your? How have you fit? You know, you have such a busy life. How do you like to fit your practice routine into your day, especially when you're super busy? What's your strategy?
I just don't practice. Well, yeah, some days you don't.
You can't practice. How do you cope? You do some like. What is your to-go fix when you don't really have the time or energy?
All right. So I'm kind of last minute. I work really well under pressure, which I learned sometimes it doesn't always work because it will reflect on your body and the way you practice. So it's really good if you can learn this now when you're young to plan ahead of time. If you have a million things going on, don't wait last minute. It's just like in school, kids usually they're like up until 3, 4 a.m. because they have to write a paper, right? So why don't you just do a little bit every day, like 3 weeks before? So it's the same thing with practicing. Like if you can, you have your stack of book and make a schedule. Okay, what the priority, what you need to start learning first, and then try to do a little bit every day. You'll be more relaxed. You're going to learn it faster. It's going to be more efficient. You're practicing, and you'll get better results. And one of the things that the phrase I really like is, you want to minimize. Minimum effort to achieve the maximum results. Yeah. So practice making a little schedule for yourself if you're preparing for an audition, for a professional audition or a school audition. Make a list of everything you need to do. If it's overwhelming, do list A, B, C, or maybe A, B closer to the audition. But in the beginning, try to do a little bit of everything and focus on the passage that are harder, that more challenging. And the easy one, well, don't spend so much time on it. Really work on the passages. And recording yourself, so important because you get immediate feedback. I have my students record themselves all the time. They tell me, well, I'm doing this. I'm like, no, you're not doing it. I said, okay, let's record. And I play it back and I'm like, okay, you're right. But anyway, so being very efficient in your practicing, finding ways of getting good results right away, and feedback, especially if you don't see a teacher for a week, 2 weeks. Okay, so I'm talking about the students now. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. But anyway, so I do the same thing too. If I have a lot going on, I try to plan it ahead. I put all my music in one little pile next to my stand. I try to have a nice environment where I practice because I can focus a little more. Technology today can be amazing, but can also be so distracting. I turn off my phone on purpose most of the time because I'll have emails coming in, students ask me this and that. So not being distracted, I cannot function. I'm practicing and I'm like, oh, I forgot to put this in the fridge. Oh, this is on the stove. Oh, I have to let the cat in. Now, trying to really find an environment that helps you concentrate and really have better quality results than practicing, going and it happens a lot to me that I go in circle and I'm like, and then I started recording myself. I said I should have recorded myself, 2 weeks ago. So planning ahead little every day, and then start running things closer to performance. Yeah, some days I don't have time to practice at all. Okay, but I do a lot of mental practice. Sometimes I listen, like if I'm playing a quartet, a new piano quartet or something I've played, but it's been a while, I put it in the car. I'm traveling to work. I have a chance to hear maybe 2 movements of it. And actually just listening to that, I'm practicing in my head. Let's say here, sometimes I go to rehearsals and we have a 2-hour rehearsal in the quartet, and I record the rehearsals. And on my way back to home, I'm listening in the car and I'm listening for everything. Okay, I need to fix that. And it's fixed in my head. Sometimes I don't even have to do it. So a lot of that mental practice, planning. Sometimes if it's a really, really, really crazy week, I put it down on my schedule. Monday, I'm going, let's say 9 to 5, and then I have another rehearsal. I say 11 p.m. to 12, that's the only time I have to practice. I'm going to put it in the calendar and try to follow that. I tell my students, they come in, they're like, I didn't have any time. I said, okay, let's sit down. We make a schedule. I have them write Monday, breakfast, I get up, breakfast, okay, and then I walk to school, and then I get to school. I have them write every single detail, and they need to put the practicing in the music, in the schedule as well. So that, and so I don't do it in detail that much for me, but I need to find, okay, so this is going to be the time that they want me to practice this, and I have to schedule it. But that mental practice is pretty magical sometimes. I have to say, I use that a lot.
That's fabulous. No, that's a great answer. Thank you so much.
Sorry, it was a long answer.
No, that was fantastic. And I love that you do that with your students, because I think, I had wonderful teachers, but if they had sat down with me to go over my schedule like that, it would have made a huge difference, I think.
Yeah, I tell them it's not just about the viola, it's about life.
It's about life, because at that college age, they're trying to figure that out, and it's really difficult, actually.
Yes, they're in high school. Their mom cooks for them. Sometimes they make their beds. The mom cleaned the house, and then they think in college it's going to be more relaxed, and I said, no, it's going to be more overwhelming, and there's going to be more responsibility, adult responsibilities of cooking and finding your food for yourself, and anyway, scheduling and a new environment. And then you get into after college, where you might have a family to deal with, also like include into, it's just me. So for me, I'm talking just for myself, but if I had a family, it would be also very, very different. The way I would kind of arrange my schedule. I would probably have to do the practicing after all the kids are in bed or something like that. But so you have to adjust. So learning it now, early on, is really good. It's really good to learn to plan out.
La maestra, no sé, yo le había preguntado cómo logra ella manejar su rutina de estudio, porque la vida, ella tiene 1000 responsabilidades y cosas que hacer. Entonces le pregunté cuál es su estrategia, y nos explicó un poquitito de la importancia de tener un espacio sin distracciones, donde uno tiene la música organizada en el escritorio, con mucha anticipación. Cuanta anticipación tengamos, mejor. No estar practicando las cosas una semana antes, pero tener bien claro qué es lo que uno tiene que estudiar un mes antes, 2 meses antes, cuáles son los pasajes más difíciles, y no poner tanta atención a los pasajes que no son tan difíciles, para como tratar de hacer que la eficiencia sea la mejor herramienta para poner un mínimo de esfuerzo y un resultado máximo. Y claro, y dice que a veces cuando las cosas se ponen muy ocupadas, ella ve su horario en detalle y dice, bueno, tengo 1 hora tal día, voy a escribir esa hora, la voy a ocupar para estudiar y seguir eso. Y cuando no se puede estudiar, está siempre estudiando mentalmente, escuchando las obras, grabando ensayos para poder escuchar la grabación en el auto. Y dice que esas son las herramientas más importantes. en general. Pero sí, el no distraerse, el enfocarse mentalmente cuando uno sí tiene tiempo de estudiar, al final es como lo más importante. ¿Alguien más quiere preguntar algo?
Anybody want to share? Actually, maybe somebody has some great ideas of how did they practice when it's really, really busy. And you Penelope and Gina. I'm trying to say your name in
No, Georgina.
Georgina.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to contribute anything, but I would like to. Sí, si alguien tiene alguna estrategia que les gustaría compartir, cómo estudian ustedes, está invitando a la maestra a cualquier cosa que quieran contribuir.
No, nada más para agregar, bueno, no agregar, comentar sobre lo que decía Marylène, esto de tener un espacio, de tener, a veces los estudiantes también tienen, no solamente nosotros los grandes, cuando ya tenemos familia, sino los estudiantes tienen colegio, ahora con la virtualidad se les ha hecho más, por lo menos aquí en Costa Rica, más pesado el trabajo en casa. Entonces, eso que decía, el tener un espacio, no solo horario, sino un espacio físico con todo listo. Y a veces yo le digo a los estudiantes, mire, tienen poquito tiempo, tengan la viola fuera, tengan la lista, para que en cualquier momento, en un momento incluso de descanso en el estudio entre una materia y otra, ¿verdad? Que a veces los recarga mucho, puedan tomar el instrumento, hacer una escala, ¿verdad? Porque a veces el tiempo que se toma un estudiante o el pensar en sacar el instrumento, ponerle pesa al arco, ¿verdad? Entonces, aunque parecieran cosas que son muy simples, vieras que sí, el estar con las cosas a mano nos sirve, y sobre todo cuando somos estudiantes y tenemos una carga académica grande, nos sirve para tomar espacios a veces hasta de 10, 15 minutos, 20 minutos, siempre con la concentración debida, pero aprovechando el día al máximo, ¿verdad? Entonces, no, simplemente decir que muy lindo escuchar también estas experiencias.
I love that. I love what he said. I mean, I think you probably understood all of that, but I really love that he says he advises his students to, now that they've been on Zoom and they've had this whole year of kind of lockdown, going there the whole time they're doing their schoolwork online. So he's advised them to actually have the instrument out. And so then in between classes or something, if they have 20 minutes, 15 minutes, if they have a little break, then they don't get like the whole hurdle of like getting the instrument out, putting the rosin on the bow. And for a high schooler, those are significant obstacles to actually getting to the work. So I thought that was really brilliant. Me encanta esa idea. And I do want to add that I remember, I think somebody asked Hilary Hahn this question online at some point, and she's so amazing. And she was just like, well, if you have 5 minutes, take them. And I was like, that's exactly right.
Exactly. And it's
Exactly.
like make the best out of those 5 minutes. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna just rush and just really think and calmly work on something, and then like try to get quality out of those 5 minutes. Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's amazing. Good. I think there's a lot of way too many distractions these days, and I find that it's one of the main problems I see in students is they cannot focus for very long. And the way they practice, the way of practicing is that's what makes the magic. And then that's how you get the results. If you don't practice well, it's just going, you practice, and then you don't get the results. So, so one of my favorite thing to do, maybe the students don't like that, but I have them practice in front of me. So it can be quite frustrating, and they're like very intimidated at first. But I was like, well, yeah, you should feel like when you practice, you should almost feel like I'm like there's somebody listening to you, and so then you practice very differently. It has to be very methodically, and I said mindfully. Like you practice something because you found a problem, you analyze it, and you find a solution. It's not just playing. You have to have some kind of goal and exact reason why you work on something.
Yeah, that's great. La maestra dice algo muy interesante que en realidad no creo que nunca he escuchado que una profesora haga esto, pero ella dice que hace que sus alumnos estudien individualmente, pero con ella ahí. Entonces, claro, es muy incómodo para el alumno porque la práctica es algo privado y uno no quiere que alguien esté escuchando, pero dice que esa incomodidad es muy útil porque hay que aprender a practicar 100% del estudio. Tiene que ser con una meta muy clara, con un razonamiento muy lógico, como si la maestra está ahí revisando todo lo que uno hace, no llegar y estudiar, porque la calidad del estudio al final es lo que más cuenta.
Right. Any other questions?
I do. I would like to listen about Marylène experience about bowing and fingering, because I have found like this is a important thing.
Great.
Besides everything.
So do you mean just in general, like for bowing, how do you choose bowings and fingerings?
About your experience, like if you learn a way and then you apply it, or if you found your own way to do the fingering and bowing.
It's a very good question, Maria. You know, very early on, I was very independent and trying to figure out my own bowings and fingerings. I think it's really good. And I try to apply that. I try to invite my students to do that as well. I always say, like I have a student right now looking for, she wants to learn the Hindemith. And then Schwandreuer. And then she's like, oh, can you send me your fingerings? And I said, I want you to try to figure it out on your own first. And then we can compare notes. So I think, you know, it's really quite a skill to be able to do your bowings, your own bowings, and choose your fingerings. Fingerings I will choose for colors, you know, bowings I will choose for phrasing and right articulation and all that. So you have to think about, okay, what do you want exactly? And then you figure out, you know, how it should be done. Do I think I slur this, or I don't slur this, or do I take more bow here? I try to be as true to the score as possible, like to be exactly what the composer wants. Sometimes for convenience, I have to change bones and things like that. But this is one of the things that I love to do when I get a new piece, and I don't even go and look at videos. I don't listen to it, and I try to figure out on my own just what I want it to sound like. And that's what makes me choose some of the fingerings, some of the bowings. If I want to slur, if I want to slide, then I'll shift, or if I want it more simple, I'll keep it in the first position, things like this. But it's really a skill, and it might be intimidating at first, like thinking, oh my gosh, that's so much. It's like you have a new piece and you're like, I don't know where to start. But really do it a little bit every day, and you'll get more comfortable with that skill. It's really important. I think the students must be a little more independent about that. I think it's good. They figure out things and then they bring it to the teacher. And of course, the teacher will probably change a million things, but at least you put some effort into it and try to understanding how it should be done. And the more you do it, it's really a process. The more you do it, you'll more comfortable you'll become. I do that with excerpts too, and it's frustrating for me because we don't have much time. Sometimes we spend 2 weeks on one excerpt, and I tell the students, you need to bring it with your own fingering, figure it out, everything. But it's really, really important because, you know, once they're out of school, 24 years old, 25 years old, you cannot call the teacher every week, hey, can you send me your fingerings for this or this? You're on your own. So it's something that is important to learn now. And, you know, as a professional, I sometimes go to work and we're playing something new, and I would try different things, to maybe 10 different fingerings, and it still doesn't feel comfortable. I'll ask a colleague. There's nothing wrong. I say, hey, what do you do here? You know, be open and ask people. It's okay. But it's not like you're gonna have a teacher telling you every week. So it's good to be more independent. Is that answering your question? Okay.
Traduzco rapidito para todos un poco. Puse la mayoría en el chat, pero sí, lo que más dice la maestra es que es importante desarrollar esa habilidad y que es difícil cuando uno es más joven y es muy fácil depender siempre en el maestro, en la profesora, que nos dé el dedaje, que nos dé los arcos, pero hay que desarrollar eso de a poco. tomar esas decisiones personalmente para poder desarrollar esa habilidad que tiene que venir de uno, porque después de graduarse uno tiene que hacer esas cosas sola. Pero diciendo eso, habiendo dicho eso, dice también que si es que ha intentado 1000 cosas y todavía sigue siendo incómodo un pasaje, sí a veces le pregunta a un colega, oye, ¿cómo estás tocando eso? Porque está muy difícil, como lo estoy haciendo yo, y uno sigue aprendiendo esas cosas de por vida.
Great. Any other questions?
That was a good question.
Yes, very good.
Well, this is a first for the Viola-Academy. We're 7 minutes early.
Well, we can work on Don Juan again. I was getting so excited. I had just started working on that.
Don't tempt us. Yeah. If I imagine that Edmundo and Randall would like to say some closing statements, maybe. So maybe voy a ceder para que digan lo que se les ocurra para despedir.
Sí, no, muchas gracias nuevamente. Muy interesante el haber tenido menos estudiantes, a diferencia de otros sábados o otras experiencias antes, porque nos permite precisamente pues hacer este conversatorio que hicimos al final, también cerrando y resumiendo algunas ideas que también se han desarrollado durante la clase, la cual, como decía al principio, me parece que fue increíble, aprendimos montones. Y pues yo nada más quiero agradecerle nuevamente a Marylène, no solo el hecho de habernos regalado el tiempo cuando nos habló de ella, de su experiencia, esta clase, sino que repetidas veces también nos acompaña los sábados y con esto también agradezco a todos los que nos acompañan en el Zoom, en las otras plataformas, Facebook, YouTube, en la página web. Y porque precisamente todo ese apoyo es el que hace que todo esto se mueva y sea posible. Así que todas estas buenas vibras, todo este apoyo y la bondad de los maestros en acompañarnos, pues hace que compartamos un ratito muy enriquecedor y también muy lindo hablando de nuestro instrumento. Así que Marylène, muchas gracias. Georgina, muchas gracias y muchas gracias a todos. Y le cedo un espacio al mundo también para la despedida.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for playing today. And you always make me feel so welcome. Very warm people.
Bravo, bravo. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Whoops.
Gracias, Penélope, también. Siempre.
Gracias, Edmundo.
Bueno, nos vemos el próximo sábado. El próximo sábado tenemos una clase maestra con el maestro Cosmala, que también lo hemos hecho con pocos alumnos para que haya un espacio para conversar. Ya hemos conversado con él de toda su experiencia, pero siempre... Dime. Sí, te lo mando por WhatsApp si quieres. Vale. Ok, está tocando de Costa Rica, bueno, es de Guatemala, pero estudia en Costa Rica, Ángel, que va a tocar el cuarto movimiento de la primera suite de reggae. Tenemos un alumno de Penélope que no hemos definido, bueno, hemos hablado, pero no hemos definido quién y qué. Y también va a tocar Jimena, que estaba por acá, de México, que según entiendo va a tocar el preludio de la suite número 1. Así que igual va a ser muy interesante. Para el sábado que sigue, el 19, tenemos a Francesca, que la estuvimos hablando escuchando sobre su trabajo con la música barroca, y ahí también van a tocar 3 estudiantes de los distintos países y con obras escogidas por Francesca para trabajar precisamente el arco barroco y ahondar un poquito más en esto. Entonces, en resumidas cuentas, lo que queremos es decirles que no nos abandonen, que sigan apoyándonos, acompañándonos, y que esto es para ustedes, para que todos, profesores, profesionales y alumnos, pues aprendamos más y más y más. Y recordarles que, o decirles a los que siempre nos acompañan por Zoom, que también tenemos una participación nutrida por Facebook y por las otras plataformas. Así que, bueno, eso nos tiene muy contentos, y como decimos, esto se hace únicamente con la intención de hermanarnos más entre todos los países como violistas, y también aprender mucho y hablar de nuestro instrumento. Gracias, Marylène, de nuevo, Georgina, Edmundo, Penélope y todos los que nos han acompañado. Muchas gracias. Nos vemos en la próxima semana.